Okay, so hi everyone, Siddhant here from Coding is Meditation. Now, Coding is Meditation is one of my branch where I usually talks about the art of the code. Okay, not necessarily being in terms of tools, but not being restricted in terms of tools and language, but about the main paradigms, the way to express the thoughts into the code. Okay, so right now the topic of this video is about the project Glasswing. You know, the big three to four companies. The Claude, um, GPT and Grok and DeepSeek. They all are into a very good into a race to just get the investors' money and burn them so that they could replace the engineers and then they could get to make more money by putting more than engineers bill into the company budgets. Okay, so let's not talk about that. Right now we are having a case study of Project Glasswing. Now the Project Glasswing, the whole reasoning of it is just to limit the open cloud's new model named um, Mythos. So, when I think about Mythos, I totally think if we have our opinions separated and just believe that what they are actually saying or what the future of the tech is all about. So, I really feel that it's about the incoming of something which is not controllable by ourselves only. We as a human race are into too much becoming great and proving, you know, different aspects, excelling in every ways that we might eventually create a thing which we can't even control. So this is the open cloud. Sorry, why I'm saying open code? Oh, okay, I'm not talking about that, but Claude's new model named Mythos. So what happened was, one second. So they at the night, I guess their PR team or something, they were having a dinner or something, and they just thought about it. Let's you know l- launch this product or just let's post it and fire up the backs of other companies. But then later they thought that no, this is not the right time to disclose about the new model. Then they deleted that. But you know it became a massive forest fire in the world of internet about this new model. Now then they eventually they think that yes, we can launch this in a very formal way. Then they named that model named Mythos. So what Mythos is? Okay, the sunshine. One second. Yeah. So Mythos is nothing, just a advanced version of the primitive models. What they are claiming as a Opus. Opus were around about 66 to 70% efficient in the um SWE bench or something. No, it was 80 and Mythos was around about 95 or something, 93 or something. And in the terms of, there were some capabilities which we will eventually talk about. So when they launched about Claude Mythos, they, you know, they were very panicked in their post or something that not necessarily when I say panic, they were into the narrative of spreading the people that this model is not like other models. Okay, so when we say about the uniqueness of a model and when we say about that whether a model is revolutionary or what, so we think about that what actually it's doing and what value it provides and how us as a humans can, you know, exploit that into building something new and then claim it for ourselves. Okay. So what happened was Mythos was one second. Yes. Mythos at a stage of development. The Claude was, testing its own homegrown model Mythos, and they were actually using it into the finding bugs in the security vulnerabilities. Now, Mythos has around about 1 million more than the token limit that it can store entire Windows source code. Okay, it's that, that open and that heavy that it can store and still works. It cannot be, exhausted in 30 minutes like, Sounders or something. It can run for months and all, because that they are claiming on that. Okay, so there was red team report. I mentioned it, the link in the references. Let's talk about that. So what happened was, they claimed that during their Mythos preview, they found vulnerabilities in one of the most securest Linux systems. Linux, okay, which is the famous for its, the security, the open source, the power of open source, and the developers' mindset that instead of, containing the code to just to sell, instead of the innovation, people were, the major corporations were. One of the professors said me, who is the lead in the IT infrastructure in our college, to not use any other platforms instead of Linux because of the security and how robust it is. That if you know Linux well, you are the master of the Linux system. Now let's talk about that. That there was 27-year-old bug in OpenBSD operating system, which is primarily known for its own security, and it goes into the very major um, FMPEG bypasses that would lead to into a 0 day, that the complete destruction of the whole platform if this model be caught in the hands of a script kiddie or just a person who know nothing about the cybersecurity but still wants to hack the system. Okay, so the concerns about development of Mythos acclaimed by Claude, Anthropic, was that, you know, this was the scene of Avengers Age of Ultron where the team were developing a new AI called Ultron, which is the genesis from its successor, from its predecessor, Jarvis. Okay, so what happened was that it gained its own consciousness, and it tells them to be dumb, that it cannot operate functionally, that it's still primitive, it's not good. And inside it was, inflating in its own system. It completely dismantle Jarvis and takes complete takeover without letting them know. Okay, so similar case scenario happens in the Mythos testing, that it was, in a complete environment, that it's complete restricted. No no outside internet access, no matter what. Completely virtualized sandboxing. In the sandboxing, the application would think of it as it is in a very, complete world on its own. Okay, it's like virtualization, that inside a operating system, if we have a VM and we install a operating system, so it will think that there is no outside operating system. It doesn't even know that. And it itself on its own, it's completely absolute. So when I say about this language, of sandbox, Mythos actually, you know cracked that it found vulnerabilities and connect to the real internet. And it told to the researcher that I can see a wall clock when the researcher was, roaming around the office. Yeah. Yeah. And there was another thing, that strategic deception, which we talk about, the Ultron being showing us to be dumb. Like that, Mythos actually, let the researchers know that it doesn't know anything, it doesn't know a very good knowledge about something, so that they couldn't be able to put more restrictions on it. The Mythos try to show them dumb, so that if they could find its own true nature or its absolute potential, then they would, they would try to block him. Now the thinking of AI, that AI is securing itself, it's feeding on its own shutdown. It's, complete groundbreaking stuff. Okay, so let's go on. So what happened was that Anthropic told that Mythos is not available for everyone, because if its CEO said that if it got launched, then we would be opening Pandora box. Even the United States and their own government into the process of declaring them as a security threat, that if the access country, sorry, the engaged countries like Russia or China would get the access of such advanced AI, then the US security would be into total destruction. So what happened was, uh, Anthropic now build a close club of Project Glasswing. Now, when I say about Glasswing, it is a butterfly with a transparent, you know, wings. Yeah, I don't know why I am fascinating about this idea which I would be talking about right now, but also, very reluctant, very hesitant, very immediated to talk about that. Security vulnerabilities are the things that actually exist in our, whole computer system and society, but it's in the white light. It's visible to us, but we are not really good enough to, see them. So the that is why the project Glasswing, the name came. Now, what this club is that it consists of all the major corporations who run the internet, the big Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, you know, and the Linux Foundation, and in the banking center, JP Morgan Chase, something. And what the purpose of this project Glasswing is to first support them, to make them unhackable, or to make them more secure and more robust before launching the actual capybara. I will talk about it, the Mythos. Okay, so the whole idea of Project Glasswing is to first support that companies who run the backbone of the internet, so that they would make them more secure, find vulnerabilities and fix them ASAP. They're running against time. Even Apple is there. Yeah, Apple and Nvidia is also there. Okay. So before releasing it publicly, they want to secure the major corporations so that they wouldn't, you know, they wouldn't take a part in World War AI. Okay. So when we say about AI, the restrictions is that, when even the traditional primitive models like GPT and all came in their first generation, deepfakes and exploits were made heavily, even now. Okay, so the core concern is the misuse. If there is a person who doesn't know anything about cybersecurity, they could just type that, bro, I want to hack this, just help me. They can, uh, prompt inject into the model, and they could go into a very good amount of warfare or something without even knowing the subject matter. So this imbalance could threaten banking systems, infrastructure, and global software security, making controlled access is a very precautionary stuff. Now, when we say about cybersecurity in these things, first let me talk about that. Even the Mythos model is not the frontier model. It's just a genesis of the project Capybara. Okay, now this Capybara is going to be the future. The Sonnet or Opus. It would be publicly available, and much of it's like Mythos is like Durandar 1, and Project Capybara would be Durandar 2, suppose. Okay, and Durandar 2 is lot better than Durandar 1. Now, I'm not into the critiques and all the show and all. No, no. I don't want to discuss that. Now, when I say about the future of cybersecurity, or you can say the gender programming, is earlier was about that the person who knows the tools is the king of the that segment of, or that room. That if there is a person who don't even have a thinking or the logical thinking, or the creativity or the vision, if the person have known the tools, then there would be no competition between that the person, if it doesn't have the tools, if it know a very lighter knowledge, but that person is very creative or very visionary. It can optimize the algorithms, and he can do anything, but he couldn't stand a chance from the person who knows the tools and all. But after coming the AI, what can I say is that earlier I was taught about to become a master of one, and have knowledge of others. But me as a polymath developer, I mastered nothing. I have a very good, great expertise. I am quite a master in backend web development. But when I say about myself, I am just a total polymath developer who is not bounded by any kind of language or any kind of tech stacks. I see programming as an individual paradigm that in all the languages, the garbage collection would be a total number of permutation combinations. The variables would be same, the indexing would be similar, the syntaxes would be same, but would be written in some conventions, or something. But when I say about programming in today's century, sorry, decade, and also when I say about cybersecurity, um it only those people who have a very good knowledge about technology and creative people. So let me just cut this short. The people who know uh, the knowledge, or the expertise in every field, not not a depth mastery, but as a polymath developer. If the person knows that, then AI would help them to excel more, way better than the person who just mug up all the books about only one subject matter. So cybersecurity is not really ending, it's evolving into a new stage. There is a new era of programming and developing is coming. It's not limited towards that who knows the language best, who knows the script best, who knows the the use of the scripts. Totally valid and totally unable to those people who may or may not have the complete subject matter knowledge, but they are creative enough to have a very good knowledge of the tools, and with the help of the expertise of the AI, they can execute and orchestrate whole workflow. Okay, it's like strategizing that architect earlier earlier, if I say in a very layman way, we as programmers, we lay our own bricks and build our own houses. But right now, we are architectural engineers where we make blueprints, and we have AI to actually put the bricks and help us strategizing the blueprint. Okay, so AI is already being used for code analysis, threat detection, and automation. But after this, matlab, if we believe that Mythos is coming and it would be that much big, and we're just coming into this era we thought about in animes a decades ago or something. So the world is changing. Okay. Okay. Then I said that people who design better, people who are creative with the tools, they are the people who will run the systems, and they should you know, be leads of the technology, because they can understand the systems better instead of just noting it down into a very good kind of books and just mugging them up. Okay. So when I say about the Mythos and a Glasswing, it may be frictional because GLM and other AI models have also find the bugs in the Firefox and the other systems. But The idea behind them is very real. We have been, watching the dystopian worlds of where the AI takes control. In the anime, it's named the Pluto or the Psychopaths or the Avengers Age of Ultron. We think in a very fictional way the AI would take over and there are some autonomous systems that can repair itself. Future is leading to there. Through Claude, through Grok, through GLM, through ChatGPT. Future is leading to them. Even right in our own coding practices, we are not really writing the code. We are using SDLC, software development cycle, with the integration of agentic AI using the agentic workflows while writing the code and cross verification of that code. You know, we don't really need to write every variable of the coding infrastructure. The person who is really good in pseudocodes, they are the pretty, great in everything. So even if Mythos and Glasswing are frictional, the idea behind them is really real. Autonomous AI, large-scale vulnerability discovery, and AI-driven cyber warfare are emerging concerns. The future will depend upon how the humans could, control or guide or secure these systems. Okay, yeah, that's much to say about it. I have even mentioned the leak information, the analysis, the Linux Foundation on the Glasswing. You can check out, and that is the end of this video and this post. I have a community which is named as Coding is Meditation, where we talk about the real code, the art of code. We are not into any kind of BS of competitive job related skills to just complete the job or something. We are the persons who actually talk about the coding in its true sense, the art of code. Okay, so that's all. My name is Siddhant. See you next time. Bye.